When I look back at my life, I see seasons where the light seemed hidden, when silence became my only companion and loneliness wrapped itself around me like a heavy cloak. I went through my darkest times alone, and maybe you too know that place. The place where tears are your pillow, where the night feels endless, where hope seems distant. Yet even in those valleys, I discovered something I could never have learned in the sunshine. In the silence of being alone, I began to hear the whispers of strength within me. In the crushing weight of pain, I realized that breaking does not mean the end. It can be the beginning of a new chapter. There were nights when I thought I had lost everything, but it was in those nights I began to understand that loneliness can be a classroom, pain can be a teacher, and brokenness can be the soil where strength grows. I want you to know today, if you are walking through the darkest tunnel, if you are facing your storms alone, you are not defeated. The night may be long, but morning will come. Your silent tears are not wasted. They are watering the seeds of your tomorrow. And the scars you carry will one day be the proof that you survived what others could not. Remember this: it is not the easy days that define you, but the days you endure alone and still keep moving. It is not the applause of people that makes you strong, but the decision to rise again when no one is clapping. So stand tall. Your darkest night will one day become your brightest testimony. There are moments in life when everything around you feels heavy, when the world seems silent and your heart feels like it is breaking under a weight no one else can see. In those moments you may feel weak, abandoned, or forgotten. But it is in those very moments that the deepest strength hidden inside you begins to rise. Strength does not reveal itself when the sun is shining and everything is easy. Strength shows its face when the night is long and you are forced to keep walking even when your legs feel like giving up. Think of a seed buried under the ground. It is surrounded by darkness, pressed under soil, hidden where no one can see it. To the outside eye, it looks like nothing is happening. But in that hidden place, the seed is fighting, pushing, breaking through its shell. The darkness is not the end for the seed. It is the environment where its potential begins to awaken. Your life works the same way. When you are pressed under burdens and surrounded by shadows, that is often the place where your inner strength starts to stretch and grow. Look at the times when you faced challenges and thought you could not make it. Maybe it was losing a job, failing an exam, or going through heartbreak. In the moment you felt powerless. But when you look back, you realize you came out stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Those moments did not break you, they built you. Strength is not born in comfort, it is born in crisis. Imagine a person going to the gym. The weight feels heavy, their muscles burn, and there is pain in every movement. But that pain is not punishment, it is the process of building new muscle. If they never lifted the weight, the strength would never come. In the same way, life places weights on you. They feel unbearable at first, but with every step, every struggle, your spirit grows stronger. Many people admire the diamond but forget the process it goes through. Coal under pressure, heat, and darkness is transformed into a diamond. Without the crushing weight, it would remain just coal. Your darkest times are the pressure that creates the diamond of strength within you. Everyday examples can remind us of this truth. A single mother working 2 jobs to provide for her children may cry at night, thinking she cannot go on, yet every morning she wakes up and continues. Her darkest times are shaping her into a woman of unshakable courage. A student who fails repeatedly but chooses to study harder eventually discovers a discipline they never knew they had. A man betrayed by those he trusted learns to stand on his own 2 feet, becoming stronger than before. It is not the applause of people that reveals your strength. It is the moments when no one is watching and you choose not to quit. It is when the phone does not ring, when friends are nowhere to be found, and when you have to encourage yourself to take one more step. That is where strength lies. Sometimes you will feel like you are drowning in your problems, but remember how the swimmer is made strong by pushing against the resistance of water. If there was no resistance, there would be no strength gained. Your trials are the resistance against which your soul becomes strong. And do not be fooled into thinking strength always looks loud or bold. Sometimes strength is simply getting out of bed when you do not feel like it. Sometimes strength is showing up at work with a smile, even though your heart is heavy. Sometimes strength is holding on to hope when everything around you tells you to let go. Life has a way of pushing you into corners where you think you have no more to give, but it is in those corners you discover a power inside you that you never knew existed. When you thought you had reached your limit, you took one more step. When you thought you could not handle the pain, you kept breathing through it. When you thought you would never smile again, one day you did. That is the miracle of strength hidden inside you. A strength that can only be revealed when life places you in your darkest times. Loneliness is one of the hardest places a human heart can enter because it feels like a prison at first, like 4 invisible walls closing in on you with no way out. The silence can be unbearable, the emptiness overwhelming. People often fear being alone because they think it means rejection or punishment. But the truth is, loneliness can be a classroom, not a prison. It is in the quiet of being alone that resilience begins to grow, like a muscle you never knew you had until life forced you to use it. Imagine a student sitting in a classroom with no teacher in sight. At first, the silence feels strange, almost frightening. But as time goes on, the student realizes they must search within themselves for answers. They must think, reflect, and solve the problems in front of them. This is how loneliness works. When the crowd disappears, when friends are nowhere to be found, when even family seems distant, you are given a space to meet yourself, to hear your own voice, and to discover the strength you did not know you carried. Think about the butterfly trapped in a cocoon. From the outside it looks lonely, sealed away from the world, cut off from everything. But in that cocoon, a miracle is happening. The butterfly struggles, it pushes, it stretches, it fights to break free. And though the process looks painful, it is the very struggle inside that lonely cocoon that develops its wings strong enough to fly. If someone were to cut the cocoon open and release it early, the butterfly would never have the strength to soar. Loneliness works the same way. The struggle of being alone develops resilience in you, preparing you for heights you never imagined. Daily life gives us countless examples of this truth. A young student studying late into the night in a quiet library may feel lonely, but that loneliness becomes the place where discipline and focus are born, shaping a future filled with success. A mother raising her children while feeling the sting of abandonment might feel trapped, yet in that loneliness she discovers resilience, the power to carry her family forward with love and determination. A man recovering from betrayal may feel the crushing silence of solitude, but through that experience he learns independence, self-worth, and the ability to stand strong without relying on anyone's approval. Loneliness is a teacher that pushes you to rely less on the noise of the world and more on the voice within. It teaches you to survive when comfort is taken away, to keep moving when no one is clapping for you, to believe in yourself even when no one is there to reassure you. When you walk through loneliness and come out on the other side, you carry with you a strength that cannot be shaken, because you know you have faced silence and survived. People often misunderstand resilience. They think it means never feeling weak, never crying, never doubting. But true resilience is born in loneliness, and it means feeling all the weakness, all the tears, all the doubts, yet still choosing to rise again. Resilience is waking up to another day, even when yesterday broke your heart. Resilience is walking into your job when you wanted to quit the night before. Resilience is facing rejection, but still daring to dream again. Picture the athlete who trains alone while the stadium is empty. No fans, no noise, no applause. Just sweat, discipline, and endless repetition. It is in that lonely place the resilience is built that later carries them to victory in front of thousands. In the same way, the lonely nights, the silent mornings, the moments when you feel unseen, are the training ground where your soul is being strengthened for the victories ahead. Loneliness strips away distractions. It removes the false comforts and empty noises, leaving you face to face with yourself. And though it feels painful, it is also pure. It is in this place you discover what truly matters, what you truly value, and what you are truly capable of. Resilience does not come from everything going right. It comes from facing everything that went wrong and still choosing to keep moving forward. So when you find yourself sitting in the silence of loneliness, do not see it as a prison. See it as a classroom where life itself is teaching you how to stand tall, how to endure, how to keep going when the path is steep. Every lonely moment is not wasted. It is shaping you, stretching you, preparing you to be stronger than you were yesterday. Pain is something we all try to avoid, yet it comes knocking at every door. Brokenness is a place none of us want to visit, yet at some point life takes us there. People often believe that pain is meant only to destroy, that brokenness is the end of their story. But the truth is far deeper. Pain and brokenness can be the soil where new strength grows. Just as a seed must first break before it can release life, so too must our hearts sometimes crack open for new strength to be born. Think of the farmer who takes seeds in his hands. When you look at the seed, it looks complete, closed, and perfect. But in order for it to bring forth a tree, fruit, or harvest, it must first go into the ground and be broken apart. Without the breaking, there is no life. Without the soil pressing down, there is no growth. In the same way, the seasons when you feel broken and pressed down are often the very seasons when something powerful is being prepared to rise inside you. Daily life is filled with stories of people who discovered this truth. A woman abandoned by those she trusted may feel shattered at first, but in that brokenness she begins to discover a strength she never knew she carried. She learns to walk alone, to provide for herself, to stand when others expected her to fall. Pain became her soil, brokenness her ground, and from it grew resilience and courage that nothing could take away. A young man who loses his job feels like his world has collapsed. He experiences the sting of rejection, the fear of the unknown, and the humiliation of failure. Yet in that season of brokenness, he begins to think differently, to explore new paths, to unlock creativity he never tapped into before. He may start a small business, learn a new skill, or take a risk that changes his future. What looked like the end became the foundation for a new beginning. Even nature reminds us of this principle. When the forest is burned by fire, it looks ruined, lifeless, and destroyed. Yet in time, from the ashes, green shoots begin to rise. The soil enriched by fire becomes more fertile than before, and life bursts forth with even greater strength. What appeared to be complete destruction was actually preparation for fresh growth. Your pain and brokenness are like that fire. Yes, they may leave scars, but those very scars enrich your soul, making it ready for new strength and greater growth. Brokenness teaches lessons that ease and comfort cannot. When your heart is shattered, you learn compassion for others who are hurting. When you are pressed down, you develop patience and endurance. When you face pain that no one else understands, you discover a depth of courage that no book, no lecture, no comfort could ever give you. Strength that comes from brokenness is different from ordinary strength. It is not loud or arrogant. It is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It is the kind of strength that allows someone to smile even while carrying scars, to move forward even when carrying memories of loss. It is the kind of strength that whispers, "I have been through the fire, I have walked through the valley, and yet I am still standing." Look at the potter who shapes clay. Before the clay can become a vessel of beauty and strength, it must first be crushed, pressed, and molded. The pressing is uncomfortable, the shaping is painful, but without it the clay remains formless. In the same way, our pain and brokenness are shaping us, molding us, preparing us for purposes we cannot yet see. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every tear carries within it the potential for growth. What feels like the soil of despair may actually be the soil of transformation. Pain breaks the surface, brokenness cracks the shell, and out of that comes a strength more powerful than before. When you look back at your life, you will realize that the moments that seemed to destroy you were often the very moments that planted the seeds of your greatest strength. Silence has a way of making people uncomfortable. Most of us rush to fill the quiet with noise, with conversations, with distractions, with endless scrolling on screens, because silence feels like emptiness. Yet hidden inside silence is a gift so powerful it can transform your life. Silence teaches you to listen to the inner voice of hope, a voice that often gets buried under the noise of the world. When the world grows quiet and the distractions fade, you begin to hear something deeper, something that speaks not to your ears but to your soul. Think about the way a musician tunes an instrument. In a crowded, noisy room, it is hard to hear the soft notes clearly. But in silence, every sound is sharp, every vibration is noticeable. Your heart works the same way. When you silence the noise around you, you start to recognize the gentle whispers of hope within, the reminders that tell you not to give up, the quiet encouragements that say tomorrow can be better than today. Life has moments when silence is forced upon us. A student who doesn't pass an exam may sit alone in their room, staring at the ceiling with no laughter or conversation to drown out the disappointment. In that silence, they have two choices: to let despair consume them, or to listen for the inner voice that says, "This is not the end, you can rise again, you can work harder, you can try once more." If they lean into that inner whisper, the silence becomes a turning point rather than a tomb. Imagine someone who has just lost a loved one. The house feels unbearably quiet, the absence heavy in every corner. At first, the silence feels cruel, like a punishment, but in time, as they sit with it, they begin to hear a different kind of silence. One that carries memories, one that carries gratitude, one that slowly teaches them to hope again, to believe that even after loss there can be meaning. Even after endings there can be new beginnings. Hope is not always loud. It does not always shout or demand attention. Most of the time, hope whispers. It speaks softly, like a small candle flickering in the darkness. If you surround yourself with too much noise, you miss it, but in silence you begin to notice it. Silence sharpens your spirit to recognize that even when everything seems broken, there is still a reason to stand, there is still a tomorrow waiting, there is still a possibility of healing. Daily life shows us this truth in simple ways. A man sitting in the park with no phone, no music, just watching the sunset, suddenly feels a deep calm and a reminder that life is bigger than his problems. A young woman walking alone at dawn without headphones feels her heart whispering that she can make it through another day. A child sitting alone after failing in sports hears within themselves the courage to try again next time. In each of these small, ordinary moments, silence opened the door for hope to be heard. Silence can be frightening because it forces you to face your own thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, or regret. But if you lean into it and keep listening, beneath the fear and beneath the doubt, you will find the voice of hope. It says you are stronger than you think. It says this is not the end. It says there is still a way forward. The world will always try to drown that voice with business and noise. People will surround themselves with endless distractions, so they never have to hear the stillness. But those who embrace silence discover something extraordinary. They learn that silence is not emptiness, it is space. It is space for the soul to breathe, space for clarity to come, space for hope to rise. It is in the quiet of silence that some of the greatest ideas are born, that courage is renewed, and that broken hearts begin to heal. When you learn to sit in silence and listen, you discover that hope has been speaking all along, waiting patiently for you to hear it. Tears are often misunderstood. People see them as a sign of weakness, a symbol of defeat, a proof that someone has failed to stay strong. But tears are not weakness, they are seeds of tomorrow's strength. Every drop that falls from your eyes carries a story, a struggle, and a hidden strength waiting to be revealed. When you cry, you are not collapsing, you are releasing. You are watering the soil of your heart, preparing it for growth that cannot come without pain. Think about the farmer who waters his field. Without water, the seeds remain dormant, hidden in the soil, unable to grow. Tears are like that water. When you release them, you are not showing fragility. You are feeding the seeds of resilience that will one day sprout into strength. Your tears are not wasted. They are the investment that life uses to bring forth courage, endurance, and wisdom. Everyday life is full of examples. A mother staying up all night, crying quietly as she worries about how to provide for her children, may feel weak in that moment. But those tears are fueling her determination, giving her the strength to rise in the morning and fight for her family. A student crying over repeated failures might think they are broken, but those tears are pushing them to study harder, to try again, to not surrender. A man crying over betrayal may feel shattered, But those tears are teaching him to rebuild his trust carefully, to rise with dignity, to become stronger than the pain that tried to destroy him. Tears can also cleanse the soul. Just as rain washes the dust from the earth, tears wash away the heaviness in your heart. They clear out the weight of unspoken words, the burden of silent struggles, the poison of disappointments. After crying, many people describe a strange lightness, as if their spirit has been washed clean. This cleansing makes room for new strength to take root. Think about a child who falls while learning to walk. They cry loudly, but after the tears, they always try again. The tears did not stop them. The tears gave them release so they could rise again. In the same way, your tears are not meant to keep you down. They are meant to release the pain so you can stand up once more. There is a quiet power in tears that is often overlooked. When you hold back everything, pretending to be strong, you bottle up emotions that slowly eat away at your spirit. But when you allow yourself to cry, you are admitting you are human, you are allowing yourself to feel, and in feeling you are allowing yourself to heal. And when healing begins, strength soon follows. Daily routines also show how tears transform into strength. A nurse working long night shifts may shed tears from exhaustion, but those very tears remind her why she chose her calling, and they give her the strength to keep serving others. A young entrepreneur facing setback after setback may cry in silence when no one is watching, but those tears water the seed of persistence, pushing him to keep building until success arrives. The greatest mountains of strength in people's lives often rise from valleys of tears. Someone who has never cried deeply often lacks the depth of resilience that tears create. Because when you cry, you are not just expressing sadness, you are also declaring to the world, I still care, I still feel, I am still alive, and as long as I am alive, I will keep moving forward. So never see your tears as shameful. They are not weakness, they are a silent testimony that you are still fighting, still enduring, still holding on. Each tear that falls carries within it the power to make you stronger tomorrow. They are not the end of your strength, they are the beginning of it. Your tears are seeds, and though today they may fall in pain, tomorrow they will rise in strength. Storms are often seen as enemies. When the sky turns dark, when the winds howl, when the rain crashes down, the natural instinct is fear. We think the storm is here to break us, to tear apart everything we have built, to leave us in ruins. But storms do not come to destroy you, they come to reveal what cannot be shaken. When life sends its fiercest winds against you, it is not always to ruin you, but to show you the parts of your soul that no storm can touch. Imagine a tree standing in the middle of a field. When the storm arrives, the weak branches break off, the loose leaves scatter, and the shallow roots may be pulled out of the ground, but the tree with deep roots remains. The storm did not destroy it, the storm revealed its strength. Your life works in the same way. When trials come, the things that are weak may fall away, but what is rooted deep inside you, your courage, your integrity, your determination, cannot be shaken. Daily life proves this again and again. A student who faces constant failure might feel as if the storm of disappointment will crush their spirit. Yet, if they stand through it, they discover perseverance, an unshakable drive to try again, to study harder, to rise above the storm. A business owner who loses everything in a financial collapse feels the winds of despair tearing at their life. But in surviving the storm, they discover creativity and resilience they never knew they had, finding ways to rebuild stronger than before. Storms have a way of stripping away illusions. When everything is calm, we can pretend we are stronger than we are. We can rely on things that are not truly secure. But when the storm comes, false supports are swept away, and only what is real remains. In this sense, storms are honest. They expose the difference between what is fragile and what is firm. Think of a house built on sand. When the storm comes, the walls collapse, the foundation crumbles, and everything is lost. But a house built on rock stands, even though the rain beats against it and the floods rise. In your life, the storms test your foundation. Are you standing on excuses, on the approval of others, on temporary comforts? Or are you standing on perseverance, on character, on faith in your own strength? The storm reveals the truth. Consider the athlete preparing for competition. In training, they may simulate difficulty, But nothing reveals their true ability like the pressure of the real challenge. When they step onto the field under the weight of expectation, with the clock ticking and the crowd watching, the storm of pressure shows what is inside them. In the same way, when the storm of life comes, it reveals whether you have built strength within or whether you have only relied on easy days. Storms can feel cruel, but they are often the very moments that define us. A single parent raising children under financial pressure may feel like every day is a storm. Bills pile up, problems multiply, and exhaustion takes over. Yet somehow they keep going, they keep providing, they keep loving. The storm did not destroy them. It revealed a strength that even they did not know existed. Sometimes storms come in the form of betrayal. Someone you trusted turns against you, and it feels like the foundation of your life has been ripped apart. But the storm of betrayal reveals who you truly are. It shows whether you will crumble into bitterness or rise into independence and wisdom. Storms also come in moments of loss, when someone you love is taken away and the emptiness feels unbearable. That storm feels like it will drown you. But as you pass through it, you begin to realize that though the loss broke your heart, it did not destroy your will to live. You discover that love remains, that memories remain, and that your spirit, though bruised, is still unshaken. What storms really do is show you what you can live without and what you cannot. They strip away the unnecessary and leave you with the essential. They shake off the fragile so the unshakable can be revealed. Storms remind you that while circumstances may change, there is something within you that remains steady, unbroken, and alive. So when the storm rages, do not only ask why it came. Ask instead what it is revealing. Ask what it is uncovering in you that is strong, unshakable, and eternal. Because storms never come just to destroy. They come to test, to shape, and to prove that even in the fiercest winds, there are parts of you that will always remain standing. Survival in solitude is one of the most powerful stories a human being can ever tell. When you walk through fire alone, when you face nights of silence where no one checks on you, when you fight battles that no one else even knows about, every breath you take, every step you make, every tear you wipe becomes a testimony. It is not just survival for yourself, it is survival that speaks to the world, saying, if I can make it through, so can you. There is something extraordinary about those who endure seasons of solitude. When no hand reaches out to pull them up, they find strength to rise. When no voice encourages them to keep going, they become their own encouragement. When no one believes in them, they dare to believe in themselves. Later, when they share their journey, others are moved, because people know that strength built in solitude is not ordinary strength. It is forged in silence, shaped in pain, tested in loneliness, and it shines with authenticity that words alone cannot describe. Daily life offers countless examples. Think of the young student who moves to a new city with no friends and no family nearby. At first, the solitude is crushing. Meals are eaten alone, weekends feel endless, and the silence is heavy. But slowly, the student learns to cook for themselves, to manage money, to handle responsibilities, to encourage their own heart when doubts come. Years later, when they stand successful, their story is not just about education, it is about survival in solitude, a testimony to others who feel lost and alone that they too can endure. Consider the single parent abandoned by their partner. Nights are long, bills pile high, and exhaustion is constant. In their solitude, there is no one to share the burden, no one to lean on. Yet they keep working, they keep feeding their children, they keep showing love even when drained. Their survival in solitude becomes a living testimony for their children and for others watching, proving that love can survive hardship, that resilience can bloom in loneliness. Think of an elderly person who loses a lifelong companion. The silence in their home feels unbearable at first. Every corner reminds them of what they lost. But slowly they begin to rebuild. They learn to embrace quiet moments, to find joy in small things, to carry memories with gratitude instead of despair. Their survival in solitude becomes a testimony to others facing loss, a reminder that even after heartbreak, life can still hold meaning. There is also the story of those who chase big dreams. Often, dreamers are misunderstood. They walk alone because others cannot see what they see. Nights are spent working in silence while friends are out celebrating. Mornings are heavy with doubt, and days are filled with sacrifice. Yet in that solitude, discipline is born, vision is sharpened, resilience is forged. When the dream finally comes true, the testimony of their solitude inspires countless others to believe in their own dreams, even when no one else believes. Survival in solitude does not just inspire, it empowers. It says to the world that you do not need applause to keep moving. You do not need a crowd to validate your worth. You do not need constant support to prove you are strong. It shows that strength is not measured by how many people cheer for you, but by how many times you stood when no one was watching. People are deeply moved by testimonies of solitude because they see themselves in them. Everyone has nights where they feel alone, days where they feel forgotten, moments where they think no one understands. When they see someone who has survived solitude and come out stronger, it ignites hope. It tells them, you are not the only one, and if they can endure, so can you. Every scar carried from solitude becomes proof of survival. Every story told becomes a light for someone still walking in the dark. The person who endured solitude unknowingly becomes a guide, a mentor, a voice of encouragement for those struggling behind them. Survival in solitude transforms personal pain into communal inspiration, personal endurance into universal strength. It becomes a living message written not with words but with resilience, saying to everyone who listens, storms can rage, loneliness can press, silence can overwhelm, but none of it has the power to destroy you if you choose to keep standing. Life has a way of testing every human being, pushing us to the edge of our limits and making us believe we cannot go any further. But the truth is, every dark season, every silent night, every storm, and every tear has been shaping you into the person you were destined to become. You are not standing here today by accident. You are here because you survived nights when you thought you would never see the morning. You are here because you kept walking even when your legs felt too weak to move. You are here because somewhere deep inside, even when everything around you screamed, give up, there was a whisper in your soul that said, keep going. There is something powerful about the human spirit that refuses to break. Even when the weight is unbearable, even when the pain feels endless, even when loneliness feels suffocating, something inside of you keeps rising. That something is your strength, your courage, your unshakable will to live. And when you look back at the journey, you will realize that the very things you thought would destroy you have become the very things that built you. Never forget that diamonds are formed under pressure, gold is purified in fire, and the tallest trees grow stronger because they have stood against the fiercest winds. So when you feel the pressure of life crushing you, remember you are becoming a diamond. When you feel the heat of trials burning you, remember you are being purified like gold. When the storms rage against you, remember your roots are going deeper and you are becoming unshakable like the tree that cannot be moved. Greatness is never born in comfort. Champions are not made when everything is easy. They are made in silence, in struggle, in tears, in pain, in the unseen moments when they choose to rise again and again. The strongest people you admire today are not strong because they avoided battles, but because they faced battles alone and refused to surrender. You too carry that strength. You too carry that fire. You too carry that unstoppable spirit within you. When life knocks you down, do not stay there. Rise again, because every time you rise, you weaken the power of defeat. When people doubt you, let their doubt fuel your determination. When your path is blocked, carve a new one. When the night feels endless, remind yourself that the sunrise is coming. No darkness lasts forever, no storm rages endlessly, no pain is eternal. History is filled with people who walked through valleys of loneliness, who cried rivers of tears, who faced storms that threatened to break them. Yet those very people are remembered today not for their suffering but for their strength. They are remembered because they refused to give up, because they turned their scars into stories, their pain into power, and their brokenness into beauty. You are writing your own history right now. One day, people will look at your journey and draw strength from the battles you fought in silence. So stand tall even when you feel small. Walk forward even when the road is hard. Believe in yourself even when no one else does. Remind yourself that pain is temporary but strength is permanent, that loneliness is a season but growth is eternal, that tears may fall today, but they are watering the seeds of your future victories. Listen closely to the dialogue of greatness echoing through generations. Fall 7 times and rise 8. Because it is not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So do not let the size of your dreams scare you. Take the step. Winners are not those who never fail, but those who never quit. Storms may bend you, but they will never break you, for what is unshakable inside of you will always remain. Remind yourself of this every single day. You are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and more powerful than you imagine. Your scars are proof that you fought battles and survived. Your tears are proof that you cared deeply and still found the courage to rise. Your silence is proof that even in loneliness you discovered your own voice. Life will continue to test you, but each test will prove your strength. Every time you endure, you are preparing for a greater tomorrow. Every time you rise, you are becoming an example for someone else. Your story is not just about you, it is about everyone who will one day look at you and say, if they can make it through their darkest times, then so can I. So carry this truth in your heart. The darkest nights produce the brightest stars, the hardest battles create the strongest warriors, and the deepest wounds give birth to the most powerful healers. You are not defined by the pain you faced, you are defined by the strength you found in the middle of that pain. Never doubt that within you is a power that no storm, no failure, no betrayal, no loneliness can ever take away. Keep rising, keep believing, keep moving forward, because the world is waiting to hear your testimony. The world is waiting to see your light. The world is waiting for the moment when you stand on the other side of your darkest times and declare with unshakable conviction that nothing could break you, nothing could stop you, and nothing could silence the greatness that was always within you.